On March 7, 1945, American troops reached the west bank of the Rhine River and found something impossible. The Ludendorff railway bridge at Remagen was perfectly intact. Every intelligence report stated the retreating German army would have blown it to pieces by now. General William Hoge, commanding the combat team on the ground, realized the detonators had failed. He didn't ask for permission. He bypassed the chain of command entirely and gave his men a simple order: take the bridge. When General Omar Bradley heard the news, he backed his rogue commander. Within 24 hours, Bradley pushed 8,000 soldiers onto the eastern bank. This map shows exactly why that order was so controversial. The Allied master strategy relied on Operation Plunder, a highly synchronized river crossing scheduled for weeks later, hundreds of miles to the north. Bradley's sudden thrust at Remagen tore that schedule apart. The capture of this bridge was a deliberate act of American defiance. It was the explosive climax to a bitter, hidden feud that had nearly fractured the Allied command 3 months earlier. In December 1944, a massive German surprise attack crashed through the Ardennes forest. The offensive physically split the American lines in half under freezing conditions. General Omar Bradley commanded the 12th Army Group. He was a quiet, highly successful tactician who suddenly found his forward divisions surrounded, missing, or dead. Faced with severed communication lines, General Dwight Eisenhower made a cold operational calculation. He stripped Bradley of 2 full armies, over 200,000 men, and handed control of the northern sector to the British. The man who took those troops was Field Marshal Bernard Law Montgomery. He was Bradley's ideological opposite: theatrical, cautious, and openly critical of the American way of war. As the southern American flank stabilized, Bradley drafted a plan for an immediate counterattack. Montgomery looked at the plan and shelved it. He ordered the American units under his command to halt, rest, and tidy up their lines for weeks before striking back. American troops sat in the snow watching German engineers dig fresh defenses on the exact ridges they could have taken days earlier. Thousands of American soldiers bled into the frozen ground to capture positions the enemy had been given free time to fortify. On January 7, 1945, Montgomery stepped in front of a bank of microphones at his tactical headquarters in Zonhoven, Belgium. He delivered a first-person account of the battle, positioning himself as the sole commander who had brought calm to a chaotic situation. The battle had caused 75,000 American casualties. Montgomery stood warm and dry, calling their sacrifice an interesting little battle. A German propaganda station intercepted the broadcast. They edited out Montgomery's compliments to the American fighting man, kept the arrogance, and rebroadcast it across Allied frequencies until it reached Bradley's headquarters. Bradley picked up a secure phone to Versailles and gave Eisenhower a quiet ultimatum. If Montgomery was placed in permanent command of ground forces, Bradley would resign and go home. To save the coalition, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill took the floor of the House of Commons. He issued a remarkable public correction, stating plainly that the Battle of the Bulge was an American victory, bought with American blood. The political fire was extinguished, and Bradley regained control of his First Army. But the betrayal hardened his command style. From that day forward, Bradley operated with a cold, deliberate independence. Which brings us back to the Rhine River at Remagen. When troops found the bridge intact, Bradley did not hesitate or wait for British approval. His operations chief warned that an early crossing didn't fit Montgomery's schedule. Bradley dismissed it entirely. He bypassed Montgomery completely and called Eisenhower directly to report the bridgehead. Eisenhower told him to get across with everything he needed. This diagram highlights the cost of waiting. Montgomery spent 17 days preparing his crossing in the north. Meanwhile, Bradley's men swept south, capturing 325,000 German soldiers in the largest single surrender in the enemy's history. The bridge at Remagen was a stroke of tactical luck, but the decision to exploit it was born of hard experience. Omar Bradley proved that caution in war has a bloody cost, and his refusal to wait ultimately shortened the war in Europe.